how do you improve communication between two players? Let's say if they're playing doubles or within a team sport, how's that verbal or nonverbal communication improve? As we all know, I mean, we always go back to communication and how did that feel? How did that, look? How does a team get better at just communicating?
Yeah, I'd say the first place to start is actually leaving the space open to have those real conversations, to
Mm-hmm.
actually talk about the stuff that matters. And if there's something that I'm not fond of, something I'm not liking about the way that my partner is training, communicating, I have to communicate that. So I'd say that's the place to start, is having those real questions and being like, hey, how was I as a partner today? How do you want me to support you on the
Mm-hmm.
court? Do you want me to tell you things? Do you want me to tell you where to serve, or do you just want to do it and communicate it to me on between points? So that I'd say that's massive. Understanding that there are different communication styles. So maybe taking one of those inventories. There's like, I think it's called DISC, DISK, and it's a communication questionnaire that you can do
Oh,
online. So
interesting.
knowing what's my communication style. Like some people are more introverted, some people are more extroverted. So just knowing that, just because I'm not saying something, maybe it's not, maybe I do have something to add, but I'm just processing. So those are important. And then, yeah, man, honestly, if people start there, and if they, I think if we interrogate reality together and look at challenges on the court together, by interrogating that reality, we can get really far. And you know, realizing what we're pretending not to know. Like there might be things that I'm blatantly avoiding, and I
Yeah.
know that I'm avoiding them, or
Mm-hmm.
conversations I'm avoiding with you, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
let's have them.
Mm-hmm. And that is becoming increasingly more difficult in today's world. I feel like no one wants to have conflict. No one
No.
wishes to have that conversation
No.
that's going to hurt, that's going to potentially have us both struggling
Yeah.
while we figure ourselves out. And I love how you used interrogate that.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so, like you need to look at, who you are and what you like and what I like on my end. And then how can we
Mhm.
make that better, or how can we make sure that we are both performing at our very best as a
Mhm.
result of this conversation.
For sure. And I mean, questions as simple as, "Hey, what's on your mind?"
Hmm. And then
Nothing.
getting a real answer on that too.
Getting a real answer when somebody
Hmm.
asks, actually stepping out of our way to answer that. And when just if there's a challenge that you're seeing somebody's having, or a problem, just asking
Hmm.
something as simple as, "What's the real challenge for you here?
Hmm.
What's
Hmm.
the real challenge for you here in this situation?" And asking it in a way that's inviting and welcoming. And then when the person gives you an answer, not taking that first answer at face value, because that's not the best answer.
Hmm.
But then the follow-up question to that is, and what else? And what else? So asking that a couple of times, you get to the meat of it. Seriously, it's like taking off, peeling an onion,
Yeah.
taking off the layers, and eventually you get to the middle.
Yeah. Very true.
Mm.
And I fell in love in tennis when I was young because it really challenged me, and the growth is incredible that you go through when you're competing and putting yourself out there as a performer on the court. And then I'm finding that a lot of these things that you're talking about that are relating to teamwork and communication and relationships on the court transfers back right to life. And whether it's your business relationships, your coworkers, your husband, wife, partner, whoever that you're dealing with, I think it's such a transferable skill to life, isn't it?
It is. It's those life skills, and sport is a great vehicle for that.
Right.
If the coaches set it up in that way, and
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of great coaches, luckily, that have, and that have used sport as a great vehicle for teaching me those life skills and those mental
Mm-hmm.
skills. And my
Mm-hmm.
approach with clients is always, yes, we're working on these mental skills in your sport, but let's look broadly. Let's look at if they're a student. Let's look at how this can apply to your school and exam pressure. You know, let's look at how we can use this to set goals for your relationship outside of the sport. So I'd say they're definitely related, and we can't look at them in isolation because we're a person that lives in those contexts, and we don't change very much. Like we do, but we're still the same person. And so with coaches, something that really struck a chord with me was hearing this phrase around work with the player underneath the jersey. You're working with the player underneath the jersey, because we're really not working with athletes.
We're working with people.
We're working with people first. And if we can change the people, they're going to be
Yeah.
different as an athlete.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that saying, we teach people tennis. We don't teach tennis to people. You know what I mean?
It's subtle.
Subtle. But we are dealing with people, and that's what strikes me. That's what gets me up every day when I work with someone on court, is how fast can I figure out this human being in front of me and what triggers them, what motivates them, how are they learning, how do they want to move forward, what are their insecurities, what are their fears, what are they, are they able to let go, or how can I motivate them to let go, and the list goes on. So yeah, we're working with people, right? And that's the beauty of it.